Okay, this video is going to go over citations, particularly the works cited page, and how to make sure everything is cited properly. So I took this page out of one of this semester's students in one of my classes. It was an A paper, and she did everything really, really well in terms of citations, so I thought I would use an example from one of you guys. So I just took one of the pages, and you can see on this particular page, she has 3 sources cited. She's got Marshall, page 36, so you can see in parentheses at the end of the sentence, Marshall 36, Zimmer et al. 17. That means this article had 3 or more authors. So she has the first name of the author who's listed first, Zimmer, and then et al. That just indicates that there are multiple authors. 17 is the page number where she got this fact. And then the last one, Berdahl et al. 423. So on this entire page, she's used 3 different sources. She's got really good synthesis. So this first body paragraph here, she has her point, and then she's drawing evidence from 2 different sources to make her point. You want to try to do that. You want to avoid talking about one source at a time. It's not a report on a bunch of different sources. It's your argument, your ideas, and then you're pulling bits of evidence from sources to prove your points. Okay, so also notice that she paraphrased. She did not use any quotations here. You don't want your essay to be quote heavy. Paraphrase more than you quote. If you could put the idea in your own language, try to do that. If there's nothing special about the way it's worded, then paraphrase as much as possible. If you do quote, try to quote just parts of the sentence, not a full sentence. So try to get in the habit of doing that. Another thing, notice that she didn't clutter up too much of the essay by giving a lot of information about the articles. She may have already introduced them earlier, but you don't need to give the full titles of the articles and lots of different information. Think about what's relevant to your readers. Chances are they probably don't need the article title. It might be more important to name the journal title or just say who the expert is. And you don't need to give where they, if you have 5 authors, you don't need to give each one and where they are based. You can try to concisely summarize it so that you're not wasting too much time explaining the article. All right, so notice a couple of things about this. So she's got her 3 sources, and I've drawn arrows so you can find them easily on the works cited page. That's the purpose of the works cited page. Your reader should be able to look in the parentheses, see the last name, flip to the last page of your paper, look down alphabetically, and find that same word. Whatever is in your parentheses, I should be able to find that as the first word in the entry, and then I have all of the bibliographical information. That's why you never use a URL, because the URL is going to be in the middle. It's always the very first word in your entry is going to match what's in the parentheses. So in this case, she has all authors. You might have a source that doesn't have an author. If that's the case, the entry will start with the title of the article. And in that case, the first word or 2 of the title is what will appear in your in-text citation. So it's always the same. Whatever's the first word in your entry, it always matches what's on in the parentheses. Okay, and notice her works cited page. A couple other things. Everything on the works cited page needs to be in the paper. So she has 6 sources here. We see 3 of them represented here, and then the other 3 were used in other places. So every single thing on the works cited page, I should be able to find an in-text citation with whatever that word is in the beginning of the entry. So I should find all 6 of these words in her paper. If you have something on your works cited page and you don't have a parenthetical citation in the paper, then if you haven't used it, get rid of it on the works cited page. If you did use information, maybe you paraphrased it, maybe you used a fact, then you need to make sure you put that citation in. You always have to say where you got information. And then likewise, if you have something in your paper, the citation must be on the works cited page. There were a few papers this time for Essay 2 that had sources that were cited in the essay, but they weren't on the Works Cited page, and I made mention of that in my comments. So make sure everything matches up. One thing I recommend is just limit the number of sources. Some people maybe got a little unwieldy with the number of sources you were trying to use. Limit it. The minimum is 3. If you're struggling with that, stick to 3 or 4 sources at the most, and that way you know you're just using those and you can keep track of them a little bit better. So every single thing that's cited in the paper, every piece of information that comes from a source needs to have an in-text citation and a matching works cited citation. Let's take a quick look at the works cited page. Hers is perfectly done. Hers all came from the databases, which makes it easy because all of the databases have that feature, the Cite This feature, where you can get the MLA citation. Here's the caution. Make sure you scroll down and find MLA. A lot of people had some MLA, some APA, some different styles. There are a lot of different styles, and MLA generally is not the first one listed. So you're going to need to scroll down the list until you find the proper MLA citation. So you want to make sure that all of them proofread to make sure they're all in MLA. The works cited page should be double spaced. Use hanging indent. That means the first line is at the margin, and then the second and possibly third and other lines are pushed in. I showed you in class how to do that. If you forgot, just send me an email. There's several different ways you can do it, but I can send you screenshots or explain how to do it. So if you don't know how, just let me know. And so hanging indent, alphabetical, double space. So make sure they're alphabetical. And then MLA, it's the same formula each time, so just double check. Generally, you're going to have the author's last name first and the first name. If you have 3 or more, you'll use et al. If you have 2, then go ahead and give the second person's name, and you can put them just in first name and then last name. Article titles are in quotation marks. They are not italicized. Journal titles, magazine titles, newspaper titles, websites, book titles, those are all italicized. So that comes next. So author, title of the article, title of the journal. If you're using a journal, volume number, then you're going to put the date and the complete page numbers, unless it's an internet source, that it appeared on. And then you're going to put the database and the identifying information. Sometimes it's a URL. EBSCO usually has the DOI numbers just to make it a little bit shorter, but you can see down here in Pater, she has the URL for the LexisNexis one. Okay, so make sure you have your works cited page in order. Really important for this last essay. This is your kind of final exam, this research paper where you're demonstrating that you have met all 4 of the student learning outcomes for English 100, and 3 of those have to do with research and source use. So you want to make sure that you're doing it right. Of course, you can always contact me, Writing Center, Tutoring Center, the Reading Center. There are a lot of places that you can get help. So always feel free to contact me if you need help, if you're struggling, if you're not sure, if you are using a source that you can't figure out how to do it, just send me the link to it and I'll help you. I also want to point out on the shortcuts page, if you click here, you have your sources for how to integrate, sample body paragraphs, sample works cited page. You've got a sample works cited page down here at the bottom. And then you also have a sample works cited page. This is from a previous semester, a student's paper. I turned her paper into an outline. So here's a topic sentence outline from her final draft. And then one of her body paragraphs, so you can see her integrated sources, and then her works cited page. So 4 sources. 2 of these are class sources. This is the Vice episode. That's the proper MLA citation. So if you use Vice, copy that. And then this is the Raise the Age article that you also read for class. So these 2 are class sources, and they are correctly cited. And then your other sources. So if you limit it to maybe 3 or 4, it tends to be a little bit easier if you're not used to working with sources. Okay, let me know if you have questions or you need help. I'm happy to help you. And I look forward to reading your papers.